Gloria, 71 years old, retired schoolteacher from Tulsa, Oklahoma, married 47 years, 2 grandchildren. A1C 11.2. Her endocrinologist sat her down in January of 2023 and said 6 words she'll never forget. "We need to start you on insulin." Gloria had been on metformin for 14 years, glipizide for 9. Her morning blood sugar hadn't been below 200 in over a year. She was tired all the time, her feet tingled, her vision blurred at night. She was losing the feeling in her left hand. And her doctor, a good doctor by the way, looked at her labs and said, "There's nothing more we can do with pills. Your pancreas isn't keeping up. Insulin is the next step." Gloria said no. Not because she didn't trust her doctor, but because her mother had gone on insulin at 68, and within 2 years, her mother gained 40 pounds, developed chronic infections, and spent the last 4 years of her life in a nursing home. Gloria watched it happen. She swore she'd never go down that road, so she asked her doctor one question. "If I change what I eat, completely, is there any chance I can bring this number down without insulin?" Her doctor said, "Honestly, at 11.2, the research says it's unlikely. But I'll give you 90 days. If your A1C doesn't improve, we start insulin." I'm Dr. Leonard Javier, and what Gloria did in those 90 days, it didn't just save her from insulin. It produced lab results that made her endocrinologist pull up a chair and say, "Tell me everything." Gloria changed 3 foods. Not her entire diet, not some extreme protocol. 3 specific foods. 1 she removed, 1 she added, and 1 she rearranged on her plate. That's it. In 90 days, her A1C dropped from 11.2 to 8.1. Still high, but her doctor agreed to extend the deadline. By month 6, 5.9. Her endocrinologist didn't just cancel the insulin prescription. He reduced her glipizide. Twice. Her fasting blood sugar went from 226 to 112. Her neuropathy symptoms began reversing. Her energy came back. She told me, "I feel like I did at 60. I'm going to show you exactly what she changed. The exact 3 foods. The exact method. Why each one works at the cellular level, and what the published research says about each change. Because Gloria's story isn't a miracle. It's biochemistry. And the biochemistry is available to every single person watching this video. Now, before I show you the 3 foods, you need to understand why 3 changes can produce a 5-point drop in A1C. Because most doctors will tell you that's impossible without medication. And they're wrong. Not because they're bad doctors, because medical school teaches disease management, not disease reversal. Here's what A1C actually measures. It's the percentage of hemoglobin in your red blood cells that has glucose permanently attached to it. At 11.2, roughly 11% of Gloria's hemoglobin was sugar-coated. That means her blood was essentially marinating her organs in glucose 24 hours a day. Her kidneys, her eyes, her nerves, her blood vessels, all being damaged continuously. But here's what her doctor didn't emphasize. Red blood cells only live about 120 days. Every 4 months, your body replaces all of them. Brand new cells, no sugar coating, clean. Think of it like repainting a room. If you stop throwing paint at the walls today, in 4 months, every wall is fresh. The old damage is cycled out. New cells replace the damaged ones. Your A1C drops, not because of medication, but because you stopped the process that was coating them in the first place. A landmark study published in The Lancet in 2017, the DIRECT trial, proved this definitively. Participants with type 2 diabetes who made intensive dietary changes achieved A1C remission, below 6.5, at rates of 46% within 12 months. 46%, nearly half. Without insulin, without adding any medication, through food. Gloria didn't know about this study when she started. She just knew she didn't want insulin. But the 3 changes she made? They targeted the exact same metabolic pathways the direct trial identified. And I want to be clear about something. Gloria was not a mild case. 11.2 is severe. At that level, her average blood glucose was approximately 272 milligrams per deciliter, around the clock, day and night. That level of glucose exposure causes measurable organ damage within months. Her doctor wasn't being dramatic when he said insulin. He was being responsible. The fact that food changes worked at this level of severity, that's what makes her case extraordinary. Not that food can help blood sugar, we've known that for decades, but that food alone brought someone from the edge of insulin dependency to a non-diabetic A1C. The research said 46% could achieve remission. Gloria became one of the 46%. The question is whether you could be too. And if you're living with type 1, I hear you. I see your comments. The food changes I'm about to describe can help reduce post-meal spikes and improve time in range, even though the underlying insulin production issue is different. Talk to your endocrinologist about adapting these specifically for type 1 management. Let me show you what she did. Starting with food number 1, the food she removed. This first change is the one that shocks most people, because the food Gloria removed, she'd been eating it every single morning for over 30 years. Her doctor recommended it. The American Heart Association endorsed it. The box it came in had a bright red heart symbol on the front, and it was destroying her blood sugar before 8 a.m. every single day. Food number 1. Gloria removed her morning cereal, specifically Raisin Bran, 2 scoops, every morning, with skim milk and a glass of orange juice on the side. Let me break down what she was actually consuming. 1 cup of Raisin Bran, and nobody eats 1 cup. Gloria was eating closer to 2, contains 18 grams of sugar per serving. At 2 cups, that's 36 grams of sugar. Add skim milk, 12 grams of lactose per cup. Add a small glass of orange juice, 22 grams of sugar. Total sugar before 8 a.m., approximately 70 grams. 70 grams of sugar. Before 8 in the morning. From a breakfast her doctor called heart healthy. For reference, the American Heart Association recommends no more than 25 grams of added sugar per day for women. Gloria was consuming nearly 3 times that limit in one meal. First meal of the day, when her body was supposed to be setting the metabolic tone for everything that followed. And here's what nobody connected for her. The glycemic index of Raisin Bran is approximately 61. Skim milk has a glycemic index of 37, but its sugar is lactose, which converts rapidly. Orange juice has a glycemic index of 50. All 3 are moderate to high glycemic, and she was combining all 3, with 0 protein, 0 fat, 0 fiber from whole food sources. There was nothing on that plate to slow glucose absorption. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2019, used continuous glucose monitors on adults over 60 eating standard, heart-healthy breakfasts. The average post-breakfast blood sugar spike was 192 milligrams per deciliter. Some participants hit 240, from cereal and juice, a breakfast their cardiologist approved. I want you to stop for a second. Think about what you had for breakfast this morning. Was there cereal? Was there juice? Was there toast with jam? How much of it was carbohydrate, and how much was protein or fat? What Gloria replaced it with? 2 scrambled eggs cooked in 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, half an avocado, a handful of raw walnuts, and a cup of black coffee. That's it. No cereal, no juice, no skim milk. Let me walk you through what changed metabolically. Eggs contain approximately 6 grams of protein and 5 grams of fat each. 12 grams of protein from 2 eggs triggers cholecystokinin release, CCK, which slows gastric emptying. The avocado adds 12 grams of monounsaturated fat, which further delays glucose entry into the bloodstream. The walnuts add 4 grams of omega-3 rich fat plus 2 grams of fiber. But here's the mechanism that matters most. Protein consumed first thing in the morning triggers an early, controlled insulin response. Your pancreas releases a small amount of insulin in response to the amino acids, not a massive spike, a gentle primer. When any carbohydrate eventually enters the system, from the trace carbs in avocado or later at lunch, insulin is already circulating. Ready. Waiting. Glucose gets shuttled into cells efficiently instead of flooding the bloodstream. Think of it like warming up a car engine on a cold morning. If you try to drive immediately, the engine sputters. But if you let it idle for 2 minutes, everything runs smooth. Protein at breakfast is the idle. It warms up your insulin system so the rest of the day runs clean. A randomized trial published in the journal Nutrients 2021 compared high-protein breakfasts to high-carbohydrate breakfasts in type 2 diabetic adults. The protein group had 42% lower post-breakfast glucose. But more importantly, their post-lunch glucose was also 23% lower, even though lunch was identical for both groups. This is called the second meal effect. What you eat at breakfast determines how your body handles lunch. The protein breakfast primed Gloria's insulin system for the entire morning. Her cereal breakfast had been sabotaging it, every day, for 30 years. Gloria made this switch on day 1. Just the breakfast, nothing else changed yet. Within 5 days, her fasting blood sugar dropped from 226 to 191, 35 points. From changing one meal. She told me she cried when she saw 191 on the meter. Not because it was good, because it was the first time in over a year her fasting number started with a 1. The eggs cost her about 33 cents per day at Walmart. The avocado, about 50 cents. The walnuts, roughly 20 cents. Total breakfast cost, $1.03. Her Raisin Bran, skim milk, and orange juice? About $1.80. She's spending less, eating more. And her blood sugar dropped 35 points in 5 days. Now, the second food change. This is the one that accelerated everything. And honestly, when I explain the mechanism behind it, you're going to wonder why this isn't printed on the wall of every endocrinologist's office in America. What I'm showing you right now covers the daytime changes Gloria made. But there's a whole other half of this equation that happens at night. What your body does between midnight and 5 a.m. is what sets your morning number before you even wake up. That's something I covered in detail in a guide called The Midnight Insulin Trap. Links in the description. All right, food number 2. Gloria added one food to her dinner plate that she'd never eaten regularly before: canned lentils. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Lentils? That's the big revelation? Stay with me, because what lentils do inside your body over 12 hours is unlike any other food that exists. And the specific reason they work is something almost no doctor explains correctly. Lentils are legumes. 1 cup of cooked lentils contains approximately 18 grams of protein, 16 grams of fiber, and 40 grams of carbohydrates. Yes, 40 grams of carbs. That sounds dangerous for a diabetic. And if those carbs were from bread or rice, they would be. But lentil carbohydrates are structurally different. A significant portion of the starch in lentils is resistant starch. Starch that your digestive enzymes literally cannot break down. It passes through your small intestine intact, undigested. It reaches your colon still whole. And there, something remarkable happens. The resistant starch from lentils becomes food for specific bacteria in your colon, Bifidobacterium and Lactobacillus species primarily. These bacteria ferment the resistant starch and produce short-chain fatty acids, specifically butyrate, propionate, and acetate. Butyrate does 3 things simultaneously. First, it strengthens the lining of your intestinal wall, preventing inflammatory compounds from leaking into your bloodstream, what researchers call intestinal permeability, or leaky gut. Second, it sends a direct signal to your liver to reduce overnight glucose production. Third, it improves insulin sensitivity in your muscle tissue for up to 24 hours after consumption. 24 hours. 1 cup of lentils at dinner, and your body handles glucose better the next morning, through lunch, and into the following evening. This is the second meal effect on steroids. When Gloria ate eggs for breakfast, the second meal effect lasted until lunch. But when she added lentils at dinner, the effect carried through the entire night and into the next morning. Her fasting blood sugar, the one measured at 6 a.m. before eating anything, started dropping. Not because of what she ate in the morning, because of what she ate for dinner the night before. I almost didn't include this level of detail, but I can't in good conscience simplify it. Because the reason lentils work isn't fiber. That's the lazy answer. The reason lentils work is that they feed a specific bacterial population that manufactures a specific fatty acid that reprograms your liver's overnight glucose output. That's not fiber, that's pharmacology. From a can that costs 89 cents at Walmart. A meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, 2012, analyzed 26 randomized trials on legume consumption and blood sugar. Across all trials, regular legume intake reduced fasting blood glucose by an average of 27% and A1C by an average of 0.5 points. 0.5 from one food addition. But here's the part that made me sit up. A follow-up study in the Journal of Nutrition, 2018, specifically measured the overnight glucose effect. Participants who ate lentils at dinner showed 14% lower fasting glucose the next morning compared to those who ate identical calorie meals without lentils. Same calories, same macros. The lentils changed what happened while they slept. And I know many of you watching right now are on metformin. You've been taking it for years. Maybe you feel like it stopped working. Here's what interests me. Metformin's primary job is reducing hepatic glucose output, telling your liver to stop dumping sugar overnight. Butyrate from lentils does the same thing through a completely different pathway. Metformin targets AMPK. Butyrate targets the GPR43 receptor. Different locks. Both reduce liver output. When you combine metformin with a nightly lentil habit, you're attacking overnight glucose from 2 angles simultaneously. Your doctor is prescribing one angle. Your dinner plate can deliver the second. Nobody tells you this. Gloria started adding half a cup of canned lentils to her dinner every night. She mixed them into soups, stirred them into stews, mashed them into her meatloaf. Her husband didn't even notice for the first 2 weeks. She bought great value canned lentils from Walmart, 89 cents per can. 1 can lasts 2 dinners. And here's something she told me that I think matters. She said the hardest part wasn't eating lentils. It was believing that a food this boring, this cheap, this unimpressive looking could actually change her lab work. She'd been spending $60 a month on supplements her friend recommended. Chromium picolinate, berberine capsules, cinnamon extract. Some helped marginally. None moved her A1C. But this ugly little brown legume that looks like a pebble and costs less than a pack of gum, this is the one that changed her liver's behavior overnight. Sometimes medicine doesn't look like medicine. Sometimes it looks like a can on the bottom shelf that nobody reaches for. By the end of month 2, with the breakfast switch and the nightly lentils, Gloria's A1C had dropped from 11.2 to 8.1. Her fasting blood sugar averaged 152, down from 226. Her doctor told her something that stuck with her. He said, "Gloria, that 3-point drop in 2 months is larger than what most patients achieve by adding a second medication." 3 points, from eggs and lentils. Her endocrinologist extended her deadline by another 90 days. If you're watching this on your television right now, good, because the third food change is the one that took Gloria from 8.1 to 5.9. And it didn't require buying anything new. It didn't cost a single extra penny. She used the same food she was already eating. She just changed the order it touched her plate. Food number 3. Gloria didn't add or remove anything for this change. She rearranged the order she ate her dinner. Protein first, vegetables second, carbohydrates last. This is called meal sequencing, And the research behind it is so strong, so unambiguous, so clearly published in the most respected diabetes journals on the planet, that the fact your doctor hasn't mentioned it borders on negligence. A randomized crossover trial published in Diabetes Care 2015, conducted by a team at Weill Cornell Medical College, tested this exact approach. Patients with type 2 diabetes ate identical meals. Same foods, same portions, same everything. The only variable was the order. When they ate carbohydrates first, bread and orange juice before chicken and salad, their post-meal blood sugar spiked to an average of 183. When they ate protein and vegetables first, chicken and salad, then bread and juice, their post-meal blood sugar peaked at 129. Same meal, same person, same stomach. Post-meal glucose was 37% lower just by eating protein before carbohydrates. Insulin levels were also significantly lower. The pancreas didn't have to work as hard. Let me explain why this works. When protein hits your stomach first, it triggers two hormones. The first is CCK, cholecystokinin, which slows gastric emptying. Your stomach holds food longer before releasing it into the small intestine. This means carbohydrates arrive at the absorption site gradually, not all at once. The second hormone is GLP-1. And I need to talk about this carefully because it's become a household name recently. GLP-1 is the hormone that drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy are designed to mimic. These injections cost $800 to $1,300 per month. They're synthetic versions of a hormone your body makes naturally. Every time you eat protein before carbohydrates, you trigger a natural GLP-1 release. Not as large as the injection, but significant, measurable. Enough to change your post-meal glucose by 37%. So let me make sure I'm saying this clearly. Pharmaceutical companies charge $1,200 a month for an injection that mimics a hormone your body produces for free when you eat your chicken before your bread. And this was published in Diabetes Care in 2015, a decade ago. A follow-up study, same research group, published in BMJ Open Diabetes Research and Care in 2019, extended the protocol to 12 weeks. Participants who consistently ate protein and vegetables before carbohydrates at every meal saw A1C reductions of 0.3 to 0.5 points, without any medication change, just fork sequence. Gloria implemented this at month 3. She was already eating eggs for breakfast and lentils at dinner. Now, she simply rearranged her dinner plate. She ate her protein first, chicken, fish, sometimes leftover lentils. Then her vegetables, broccoli, green beans, spinach, whatever she had. Then, and only then, did she eat any carbohydrate, a small portion of sweet potato. Sometimes a slice of sourdough bread. Grab a pen, or your phone. Write this down. Protein first, vegetables second, carbohydrates last. That's the sequence. Every meal, every day. It's free, it works, and you can start it at your next meal. The results compounded. The egg breakfast primed her insulin for the morning. The lentils reprogrammed her liver's overnight output. And the meal sequence reduced her post-dinner spike by a third. 3 changes, working simultaneously, each one amplifying the others. By month 4, Gloria's fasting blood sugar averaged 121. By month 5, 114. She was seeing numbers she hadn't seen since her 50s. Month 6. Her endocrinologist drew her blood, called her 4 days later. Gloria, your A1C is 5.9. 5.9. That is technically no longer in the diabetic range. That is pre-diabetes, after starting at 11.2. Her endocrinologist didn't just cancel the insulin conversation. He reduced her glipizide dose by half. He told her, "I've been practicing for 22 years. I have never seen a 5-point A1C drop without adding insulin. Tell me what you did." She told him, eggs instead of cereal, lentils at dinner, protein before carbs. He wrote it down. And here's the part of Gloria's story that stays with me. She told me that for 14 years on metformin, she felt like diabetes was something that happened to her, something she couldn't control. She took her pills, she followed the rules, and it got worse anyway. Every quarter, the A1C crept up. Every year, the dosage increased. She felt like a passenger in her own body. But the day she scrambled those first 2 eggs, the day she opened that first can of lentils, the day she put her chicken on the plate before her sweet potato, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Agency. She was doing something with her own hands, in her own kitchen, and it was working. That feeling, that sense of control, is worth more than any supplement, more than any protocol. It's the feeling that says, I am not powerless. My kitchen is not just a room where I eat. It's where I fight back. And I know a lot of you watching right now have been where Gloria was, staring at a number that terrifies you, being told it only gets worse from here, being told insulin is inevitable. I see your comments. I read every single one. And the reason I'm telling Gloria's story today is because her story is not unique. The biochemistry that worked for her works for everyone who applies it. Now, the 3 changes I just showed you cover breakfast and dinner. But there's a gap in the middle. What happens overnight? Gloria's lentils helped reduce the liver's glucose dump. But the full overnight system, the cortisol surge at 3 a.m., the dawn phenomenon. The reason morning numbers are stubborn even when everything else improves. That's what I mapped out in the Midnight Insulin Trap. It covers the nighttime protocol step by step. What changes after 60? What your body does between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. And the 7-day reset that addresses the piece most doctors skip entirely. Link is right below this video. But let me finish, because there are combinations that can cancel everything Gloria built. Okay, this is the part I need you to hear, because you can do everything Gloria did. Eggs for breakfast, lentils at dinner, protein first sequencing. And if you make any of these 3 combinations, you undo the benefit. Dangerous combination number 1. Eating protein first, but drinking juice or soda with the meal. The entire point of protein first sequencing is to slow gastric emptying. Protein creates a physical break in your stomach. But liquid sugar, orange juice, sweet tea, soda, even healthy smoothies, bypasses that break entirely. Liquid doesn't need to be digested. It flows around the protein, straight into your small intestine, straight into your bloodstream. Your post-meal spike goes right back to where it was before. The protein sequence only works if liquids during the meal are water, unsweetened tea, or black coffee. Nothing sweet, nothing with sugar, no exceptions. Dangerous combination number 2. Eating lentils and taking a high-dose fiber supplement at the same meal. Some viewers take psyllium husk or a fiber supplement before dinner, which is fine on its own. But if you combine a fiber supplement with a full cup of lentils, which already contains 16 grams of fiber, the total fiber load can exceed 30 grams in a single meal. For seniors over 70, that creates significant GI distress, bloating, cramping, and in people with slow GI motility, common after 70, potential intestinal blockage. 1 fiber strategy per meal, not 2. If you eat lentils at dinner, skip the supplement that night. If you take psyllium at lunch, you're free to eat lentils at dinner. Separate them. Dangerous combination number 3. Making all 3 changes simultaneously while taking sulfonylureas without monitoring closely. Gloria was on glipizide, a sulfonylurea. These drugs force your pancreas to secrete insulin regardless of what you eat. When you suddenly remove a high-sugar breakfast and add lentils and sequence your meals, your blood sugar drops. But the glipizide doesn't know that. It keeps forcing insulin out at the same rate. The result can be hypoglycemia, blood sugar crashing below 70, dizziness, shakiness, confusion. In seniors, hypoglycemia is dangerous. It causes falls, hospitalizations, and in rare cases, worse. Stop. If you take glipizide, glyburide, or any sulfonylurea, listen to this next sentence carefully. Make the food changes gradually. Breakfast change first, alone, for 2 weeks. Monitor your blood sugar 3 times daily. Bring your glucose log to your doctor. Show them the pattern. Then add the lentils. 2 more weeks. Monitor again. Then implement the sequencing. Your doctor may need to reduce your medication as your food takes over more of the work. That's a good thing, but it has to be supervised. Gloria's glipizide was reduced because her doctor saw the numbers improving and adjusted accordingly. She didn't do it alone. Neither should you. All right, here is Gloria's exact daily protocol, adapted for anyone watching. You can start tomorrow morning. Morning. Between 6 and 7 a.m. 2 eggs, any style, scrambled, boiled, poached, whatever you prefer. Cooked in 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil or butter. Half an avocado on the side. If avocado isn't available or affordable, substitute a small handful of walnuts or 2 tablespoons of natural almond butter. 1 cup of black coffee or unsweetened tea. No cereal, no juice, no toast for the first 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, if your morning numbers have dropped, you can reintroduce 1 slice of sourdough toast after eating the eggs and avocado first. Protein first, always. Eggs at Walmart, about 22 cents each. Avocado, 50 to 75 cents per half. Walnuts, roughly 15 cents per handful from the Kirkland bulk bag at Costco. Total breakfast cost, under $1.20. Dinner, between 5:30 and 6:30 p.m. Build your plate in this order. First, 4 to 6 ounces of protein. Chicken, salmon, sardines, ground turkey, or lentils themselves if you're doing a plant-based approach. Second, 2 cups of non-starchy vegetables. Broccoli, green beans, spinach, zucchini, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, asparagus, any combination. Third, half a cup of lentils mixed into the meal. Stirred into a soup, mashed into the protein, mixed into a salad, however you tolerate them. Fourth and last, a small portion of starchy carbohydrate if desired. A fist-sized sweet potato, a small scoop of rice, a slice of bread. This goes on the plate last and gets eaten last. Canned lentils at Walmart, 89 cents per can. 1 can gives you 2 dinner servings. Cost per serving, 45 cents. Evening, after dinner, a 10 to 15-minute walk. Not exercise, a stroll, around the block, around your house, around your yard. This activates GLUT4 transporters in your leg muscles, which pull glucose from your bloodstream without requiring insulin. It's the cheapest, simplest blood sugar tool that exists. Then, no food after 7 p.m. Give your body a 12-hour overnight fast between dinner and breakfast. This allows your liver to cycle through its glycogen stores and reduces the dawn phenomenon spike. If you take nothing else from this video, take the 3 changes and the sequence. Eggs for breakfast, lentils at dinner, protein first. That's it. That's what took Gloria from 11.2 to 5.9. Not a complicated protocol, not an expensive program. 3 changes that cost less than her original breakfast. Let me explain why these 3 changes together produce results that seem impossible individually. The egg breakfast eliminates the morning glucose spike and primes insulin via the second meal effect. That handles 6 a.m. to noon. The lentils at dinner feed colonic bacteria that produce butyrate, which suppresses hepatic glucose output overnight. That handles 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. The meal sequencing reduces every post-meal spike by 37% through GLP-1 and CCK activation. That handles every meal in between. When you stack all 3, there is no window in the 24-hour day where glucose is uncontrolled. Morning is handled by the protein breakfast. Daytime spikes are reduced by sequencing. Overnight is managed by the butyrate from lentils. The coverage is